Well, it's 6:15, so do we want to call the public hearing to order?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to call this public hearing to order on June 16th, 2020 at 6:15. Jenny, roll call, please.
Dave,
Here.
Ben,
Here.
Matt,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Marty,
Here.
Paula.
Here.
Okay, the reason for this public hearing is discussion on ordinance 2020-20, an ordinance approving and adopting a permanent budget for 2021 for the village of Mantua after publication and public budget hearing pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.3. So this is the third reading. Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Are there any citizens out there that have any questions on our budget?
None that I can see.
We'll give them a few minutes to email you.
Doesn't look like anybody's watching the YouTube, so maybe they'll be
No
here
one's on.
30. It's on.
Boy, this group is awful quiet tonight. I mean, it's almost like let's gonna take a nap or what?
Well, I was making noise before you came on.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
When I was the only one on, I was playing harmonica.
They only did what?
I said, when I was the only one on, I was playing harmonica.
Okay.
You should play us some music on your piano, Marty.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I'm not that good yet.
Oh, I bet.
Well, I'm working on it, but, you know, I haven't had any lessons since March.
Well, if you're even half as good on the piano as you are on your harmonica, it's got to be very good.
Well, I got a long way to go to be as good as I am on the harmonica.
I got a drum set in the basement. You want me to bring my laptop down there and play some drums for everybody?
No.
That was quick.
All I have to do is sit out on the front porch. I can hear you play the drums. Oh, wait a minute. All I have to do is sit on my back porch and I can hear you play the drums.
That's probably my son, not me.
Yeah, I think he has a little more steam than you do, huh?
Yes, he does.
Michelle, is there anybody there yet?
Nobody's sending any comments. Just hit refresh once on the email and then you can just, nope, nothing.
I'll wait till 16:20. I mean, we're still going to be sitting here for 10 minutes waiting, so.
Boy, these minutes are going to be tough tonight.
You're gonna have to review the tape multiple times to get everything.
I think so.
Well, I was gonna tell Paula that I like their shirt, but I didn't want that to end in the minutes.
I have to write something.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Matt said he likes Paula's shirt, and he's got gangster relatives out in Youngstown.
He knows where Jimmy Hoffa is.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, if we would have been in chambers and you would have said it, it would have got on the tape anyhow, so
You know,
it doesn't make any difference.
Since we evidently don't have any citizens with any concerns on the budget for 2021, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Dave,
yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
We got about a few minutes. I'm gonna step out. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Not allowed to.
Just sitting here watching the annoying squirrels eat all the bird food out of my bird feeders.
Oh, jeez.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad absolutely positively hated squirrels and he got a BB gun. And I thought, Dad, you're horrible. Why are you shooting squirrels? And here I am wanting to shoot the darn squirrels because they're eating all my birdseed. We become our parents. It's true.
Yes.
I made a
Yes, we do.
separate feeder for the squirrels. They
Yeah, I'm
don't bother
here.
my birds.
Oh, really, Marty? You made a feeder specifically for the squirrels?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Got a PVC pipe.
Might would have a little electric wire on it that I could zap them with.
Well, I have similar sentiments towards the chipmunks that run around my property.
Oh, see, I think they're cute. I don't mind them.
They're really cute.
They dig holes every place.
Everywhere.
Oh,
Big holes everywhere.
Sooner
I've
or
had
later,
moles
the
in my
squirrels will
backyard.
be in your house if you're not careful, you know.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't want,
that's
I
another
don't
story.
want
I
them
think
to.
they had a network that did run through my basement at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had them get between our first and second floor. Sounded like they were drag racing.
Really?
John ended up putting traps up in the attic and right outside where we thought they were going in and finally caught several.
Wow.
So I had a carpenter bee problem here too. And they're like little terminators. Skynet should have sent them back in time to go take care of business because those things are unbelievable. So I got a video the other day of a chipmunk sitting on my back porch eating the little balls of sawdust that have like whatever kind of secretion that the carpenter bees, use. And then it was just sitting there eating that like a snack, like a dessert.
You know what's fun to do with those bees? They have radar. If you stand out there and you throw pebbles up in the air, they'll chase them when they come out of the wood.
Yeah.
Stand there with a tennis racket or a badminton racket. When they come down chasing the pebble, just whap them.
Yeah. Well, that's actually how I get the bats out of my house. So whenever I get a bat in my house, I just open up because they just circle the room,
Yeah.
So I just open up the door and then I just wait for it to get by the door and then I throw my keys out the door or something like that. And then it goes follows the keys out. And not this, I don't have bats in my house all the time. It's been about 2 years, but every now and then you get a bat in your house.
Yeah. There's another way to catch those things. Get a piece of PVC pipe about 2 inches, take one end of it, and land on the wall, put it right below below them, they'll crawl into it because it's dark. That's what I do with them.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
We have badminton racks stationed on every floor of the house.
Badminton rackets. There you go. They work for carpenter bees too.
Yeah.
My cat catches them every now and then.
Since we have that cedar siding on our house, we have a big problem, so we have it sprayed every year. This year, besides the carpenter bees, we haven't found where the nest is at yet, but European hornets. They're about that long.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Ooh.
You don't want to get hit by one of them.
Yeah, they said they've only been in Ohio for about 2 years. I'd never seen one before.
I'm just sitting here marveling at Matt's old school real wood paneling behind him. Mm-hmm. Takes me back to my youth. It's nice.
Thanks. It was one of the few selling points of this house.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitar in the corner, huh?
Yeah, I see that too. I'm waiting for you to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So you on guitar, Marty on harmonica, me on drums. We kind of got a band going.
Yeah. Well, it's a little known fact. I'm actually a one-man band. I play it all. I play drums, guitar, bass. I
Oh,
sing.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. The only thing I can't do is sing and play guitar at the same time. That's difficult.
I can't sing, period. So you got one up on me.
I can't sing at all. I can't carry a tune to save my life.
Nope, me
I
neither.
sing much better than I play piano or harmonicas.
Yes, you do. We'll all have to get together sometime when things open up and go and watch one of Marty's concerts. John and I have been to a couple of them.
That'd be great. No, I'm like, what else can you see? If you see a box on the couch, just to keep the cat off the couch.
See the fish on the wall.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Where'd you get the fish?
Yeah, chainsaw fish, northern pike.
Hmm.
Where at?
Oh, no, it's just the chainsaw carving. I like pike.
Oh.
I'll go to the river and fish every now and then.
The cow.
No wonder it's so big.
Yeah.
Hi, Rich. I see you're eating. You got enough to share. You're on mute, so yeah, we don't want to hear you chewing though. So stay on mute.
Okay, Dave.
We're all hungry, and you're sitting there eating in front of us.
Hummus
Hummus
Ooh.
and pita chips.
with some pita chips bread.
I had that just a couple hours ago, and I think I brought home a doggy bag. Maybe I'll pull it out and eat some with you.
Great minds think alike. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you.
Good.
Nice book you have on your shelf.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. My son, the Marine, and the flag that's there flew over Camp Leatherneck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he brought it back. Yeah, pretty cool. Has
Very
the
cool.
date stamped and when it was flown over Camp Leatherneck, 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, kids, it's 6:30.
Okay.
Like to call this regular council meeting to order on June 16th, 2020 at 6:30. We'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance, but let's have a moment of silence for Mike Altatier, Linda Wilk, the head dispatcher for the police department's brother. Jenny, roll call, please.
Dave,
Here,
Marty,
Here.
Ben,
Here.
Paula,
Here,
Scott,
Here,
Matt.
Here.
Motion to approve the May 19th, 2020 regular council meeting minutes unless there's an amendment.
So moved.
Second.
second,
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
yes,
Scott,
yes,
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Dave.
yes.
Okay, mayor's report. I have a special event form from Kenny Kinder. He used to have one of the ball teams that was on the north side of the park, but his kids have gotten bigger, and so they're in a traveling league. They have asked if they could use the south side ball field for practice until July 31st. I have his paperwork and the copy of the insurance for his team. If someone would like to make a motion to approve that.
Moved.
Second,
second,
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Dave,
yes.
Scott,
yes,
Paula,
yes,
Matt.
Yes.
Okay, and then the next thing, so we can move on to everything else. Parks and Shade Tree had asked if they could move their meeting tomorrow night down to the parks for summer solstice. So I had Michelle check to make sure that we could open up the parks. We can open up the pavilions, but she is recommending that we have our service department go down there with a bleach solution and spray it on the picnic tables and the trash containers and the playground equipment a couple times a week. Just as a precaution, we do have signs up that the DMRC provided that say practice your safe distancing and all that, and pick up your trash and that kind of thing. So that was very nice of them to do that. But during this discussion, because it's parks, the mini park, we have the tables in the mini park and the trash cans that get used quite a bit now because 44 restoration is up. And it's also being recommended that those tables should have been, and maybe they have been. I have not talked to Restoration 44 yet to see if they have done anything with them. But we're going to have to start having our guys go out there first thing in the morning and spray everything down there every morning. If 44 Restoration hasn't been doing it, we're going to ask them if they could do it in the afternoons to help our guys out. So just to let you know, the lodge is still not open because we would have to have it sanitized after every use. And we're still on the 10-person limit for inside the building. The parks, the guys have moved the tables, spread them out as much as they can under the pavilion. So, and they're outside. So just so you're aware of that, John's going to be having the guys mix up the bleach solution and start adding another little job to their day. So,
Yes, I already talked to him.
okay.
Good idea.
And that's all I have. And the next thing is Brian Perkins and Kim Yule want to present an idea about the Potato Festival to you. I see Brian was here. Is Kim here?
Yeah, they're both here.
yeah, they're both here.
Okay. I don't know where you guys see them, so.
They're only on audio and they both just
Hi.
unmuted, so.
It's
Hi,
Kim.
Here they are.
There they are. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
And
Hello, it's Brian Perkins.
I'll put my video on so you can see. So Brian and I and the team all kind of talked about still wanting to have a Potato Festival meeting, or if we can have something, we wanted to offer something to the town. We thought about having like a 1 day, almost like Art on the Hill, same weekend, and we were gonna do a no rides, no vendors, maybe some craft vendors in the space, in the new green space. We've gotten permission from a few of the like Edie said we could use that space, whatever we wanted. Restoration 44, Jody, they've all said that, they would be willing to do whatever we want them to do. And so it was just kind of, you know, figuring out what that looks like, but we kind of wanted to check with, your guys' planning committee and what you guys all thought and what it would look like. Brian, did I miss anything?
No, that's it. The only one reason that we talked about doing this is one of our bands that we paid fairly good money for. If we break the contract, we still have to pay them half. So this would give us an opportunity to at least use the one band for the 1 day.
And where would they be performing?
They would be performing either in that new green space or in the parking lot behind it. But it'll probably be that green space area.
So if you use the green space, where's everybody supposed to park? That we obviously have a lack of parking downtown.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be on a smaller scale, but we would use the parking down by the the entrance to the park area. Whatever the business is, Manline down in there, like that big parking lot down there.
Mm-hmm.
And probably use some of the street. We talked about closing First Street and putting some stuff in there. So we'll definitely have to work on parking and figure out how many people are even going to come pipe through our Facebook so we know how much parking we're going to use.
Hey, Chief, what do you feel about that?
Okay, am I on now?
Yeah,
Yep.
you're
Yeah. We met a little bit earlier. We think it's something that's doable. Obviously, if it's like Art on the Hill, we'd have to just snow fence everything off. And then parking, we know is going to be an issue. So it may be one of these where they park down by the park and they're just going to have to walk up. If they're going to have any kind of alcohol, we'd have to have a snow fence. We'd have to be monitoring that. Obviously, we don't want anybody crossing the traffic, Main Street, so we'd have to keep it all on the east side of the road. So it's something that we're just going to have to work on and monitor and come up with a plan. If it's going to be the 1 day, it won't be as big of a deal as if it was going to be like a whole weekend of shutting all the roads down. We'd have to just notify the post office. They have to, if it's on a Saturday, we just have some things we have to do, like what we would do for the soapbox derby or any other 1 day events.
So what? Who would actually be there from a vendor perspective?
So we contacted like the Village, Jake's, so they would be like their restaurants would be open. We'd also the DMRC would still bring their pierogi that they bring to the fair, so they would sell pierogies. Okay. We would contact the Lutheran Church to still set up their booth with the potato pancakes, stuff like that, just local.
Okay.
People.
So you're not going to have vendors come in with games or rides or anything like that?
No games, no rides. It's going to be it's basically just going to be, we're trying to limit it to people that live in Mantua to be the vendors and be the stuff, because we keep it on a low keel. So somehow we got to come up with who's participating, who's not participating. Okay. So
you have enough local vendors to make it worthwhile?
I talked to Edie from DMRC. She said, she thought it was a good idea that, they're not into it to make a bunch of money like they typically do for Potato Festival. It's just, if it gives back to the community and brings the community together, they're all in on it. So we're not looking at it as like to make money, just try to come together a little bit. And it's, of course, if the state doesn't open us up on July 1st, which that's the decision that they're going to make on July 1st, then we're pretty much shot down anyways, because they're going to extend it to August 1st. And then I don't think we'll have enough time to plan. So.
Okay.
Kim and Brian, the question that I have is if the DMRC does their pierogi and the Lutheran Church does their potato pancakes, they have to get a food permit, I guess, from the health department. Then don't you have to supply them with water at their facilities? At their
We
booths?
We do. And I talked to Edie, and there supposedly is some kind of power box that Jeff added really close to that green space that we're supposed to check within the next couple of weeks to just see how much power is there. She says she has water there for water in that green space. So we've done a little bit of legwork, not all the legwork's done, but I did a little bit. And then when, Edie said when she's done with that sign, she'll have a little bit more time on her hands that she'll show me that power box and we'll come up with, the power and water.
So we also found out that the stomp is not canceled.
Oh, okay.
And we were thinking of having the parade, earlier, and then after the parade, it's just like open vendors for the day. Like we're gonna cut it off at like 9-10 o'clock at night. Like this isn't gonna go till 11 like usual. So we just wanted to be able to offer Manaway something if we can. And everyone understands if we can't, but without having an ox roast, without having art on the hill, we wanted to still be able to offer something, even if it's a very limited amount. It's still bringing the town together and, being able to, give back a little bit.
The other question I have is, so you guys would not be getting a liquor permit then, correct?
I missed it. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Liquor permit.
That would be up to Jody to pull her liquor permit and the village. Like we would have to use theirs because it would be out in their roped in snow fenced space. We would have to use their liquor license unless Brian can. And again, we still have to kind of wait. Like, can we even apply for one at this point? Is it worth it? And with the state now really opening up for us to be able to do that, the only liquor we would be able to do, I believe, is just the local vendors in their own little roped off areas. We won't we won't provide the liquor license.
So then,
right, Brian? I'm not sure.
So then we would have to close off Prospect Street also in order for Jody to have a roped off area outside of her business. Joe, these are questions for you.
Prospect and First Street, it sounds like.
Yeah, we'd have to work all that. Like we're not planning on pulling a liquor permit because we won't have time to organize it. So each bar owner can find their own space, and so people will not be walking the streets with liquor.
But you're going to have those vendors within the snow fence.
Yeah, most definitely.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
How hard would it be to shut off the center of town on 44 like we used to? I mean, old school.
Yeah.
Because when you said we'll have to keep it to the east side of the street, well, then that takes Restoration 44 and the mini park out of the mix, which I think is what we don't want to do. I think that Restoration 44 and the mini park could really be utilized through all that.
But if you do that, you're going to have to fence that whole area off. Anywhere where there's alcohol, you're going to have to fence that in.
So Registration 44 bought K&K Meats. Right. So we'll probably try to get with them, and maybe they can move some of their stuff into K&K Meat and still be a part of this because they'll be on the east side of the street. So if they can get that space kind of up and running and serve coffee out of it, serve, whatever they want to do out of that space, then they'll still be a part of it. Because yeah, we definitely want to try to keep them in the loop. They've done a ton for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, and one other thing, because that's a state route, technically, if you're detouring state routes, you have to keep big trucks on state routes. So that would be taking 44 traffic and detouring them the same as ODOT would. They'd have to go down 82 and come around somewhere to come back to 44.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to kind of involved.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking big truck traffic is probably lighter on the weekend, so it would still be an inconvenience for sure, but it wouldn't be as impactful as if it were closed during a weekday, I would think.
Right. I'm just thinking back to the old days,
Yeah, me too.
and
Yeah.
that was pretty cool when we
Yeah,
used
it
to
was.
do that downtown.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing you got to think of is emergency response time. We do
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of calls, Roundup Lake,
Right.
on Trailer Park, Aurora East.
Right. No, I'm with you.
I just,
Okay. No,
I'm not trying to discourage anything for the village. I just know we run a lot of squad calls up north through the village
Okay.
on the weekends.
Yeah,
Okay.
remember, most of the time when we close off 44 before the turnpike. Since then, traffic is just
Right.
too intense.
Right. Okay.
Right, because I think if we closed off 44, let's say from Prospect to Franklin even,
Yeah.
or however far, we would, even though we could detour truck traffic, we would still have to detour vehicle traffic, which means they'd have to be able to go down Prospect and turn onto First Street to go north, and they'd have to come up High Street and go down Maple.
Or go up West Prospect and go down Maple Street. I mean, that might be a better way of doing it.
Right, but we'd have to route them around the village.
Right. Right.
I don't want to make this difficult. I was just kind of, it's just picking Joe's brain, I mean.
Yeah.
I see that we have somebody asking, wants to ask a question. Michelle?
Yeah, I had an email from Harry Booker, and he asked if we really want to expose our police and our fire departments, which are on limited staffing, to this kind of risk. And he also says that shutting down Main Street is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
That's
definitely,
why I asked Joe.
it's definitely a concern that we all have. We don't even know if people will show up at this point. If September's supposed to start getting worse and all of that, it's a concern of ours as well.
Yeah.
And I think we're just kind of throwing out ideas. And if on July 1st they say, we're waiting, then we're done with the conversation. At that point, we won't have time to get everybody together. So, I think one of the reasons we wanted to take the first street is so that we didn't have to worry about that traffic there. We can involve like Mama's Eats, we can involve Manaway Corners, but they would, we'd have to figure out how to make that work. And that includes like vendor's license, but we can get people to travel out to those places, not just be right in town either. They can still offer like potato soup or whatever for their special for that, for that day, and still have them be a part of anything that we decide, and with restoration, being able to have that building on the east side, I think that helps because then they're still being able to be a part of it.
And another concern is again, like Kim said, we won't know until July 1st.
Yeah.
What the state's going to say. I mean, we know that the social distancing is probably going to stay in effect for who knows how long, but I mean, like right now, indoor events, like if we were to rent out the lodge, is still limited to 10. So how many would they allow in an outdoor event? Those are all things that we'd have to address.
Yeah.
Because there'd have to be masks available, there'd have to be hand sanitizing stations, and
Well, there's a lot of protests going on. that are
Yeah.
kind of
I
unlimited.
don't disagree with you,
No
Paula.
masks, you know, it's,
Yeah.
we can't,
Yep.
you know, people have to use their own common sense too.
Yep, exactly.
You know, we can't monitor it all.
Yeah.
And speaking of indoor events, I watched the funeral of Bishop Murray of St. Columbo Church. And there were a whole lot more than 10 people in there. There were probably 200 priests.
I totally understand. I'm with Paula. People, you need to use common sense, but I mean, if the state tells us one thing, I realize that people are out there protesting and that's their right. But this isn't going to be a protest. This is going to be a party for the village, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
I mean, do we want to just, you guys want to just discuss it and we'll wait till the 1st and then keep going if, you know,
Yeah.
if that's the direction or, okay.
I think
Yeah,
it's I get the feeling that most of us are pro festival. I think all of us enjoy the opportunity to have the community get together, but under current conditions, there's just so many unknowns.
Mhm.
So we kind of need to understand what the rules of engagement are, so to speak, on something like this, and make sure we can accommodate it without major disruption. So yeah, we're probably gonna have to wait a couple weeks until we know exactly what is allowed and what's not allowed.
Yeah, and we're definitely, if the state says, limits us to so many people gathering, so if the state doesn't open it, we're not trying
Right.
to fudge the rules. We're not,
Right. Right.
I'm not doing that. If they
Right.
don't open it, then we're not doing it.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, I'm not taking it past dark time because I can't control social distancing when it's dark. So
Right. Yep.
we're gonna have sanitation stations. We're gonna actually promote safety. I mean, that's
Okay.
gonna be, please wear, try to wear masks. You're not gonna force it, but you're gonna just promote safety, and just try to do the best we can with social distancing. We will have lines and stuff, and we'll have people there to try to ask people in a nice way to, please keep your distance, and, just try to keep it as best we can. Obviously if we have 1,000 people show up, it's going to be mayhem, but I guess here's the time we're hoping that we don't have a lot, tons of people, but
Yeah.
you just don't know. I mean, once we put it on Facebook that we're going to do it, then we're going to, by the likes, you're going to figure out how many people is going to be coming, I would think. But yeah, if the state don't open it, I'm not trying to squeak by or anything,
Yeah. It doesn't sound like any of us have said forget about it completely,
Yeah.
So I think we're all open to the idea of doing it, but we just need to better understand.
Yeah, and we
How
don't
to
even
do it,
understand. We're gonna have to start learning fast is what we're
Yep.
gonna have to do.
Yeah.
And I think if you go forward with it, I think being able to incorporate East Prospect with First Street would give you more area to spread people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be necessary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
Hey,
would
everyone, this
definitely.
is Matt. I just have a quick question. When you mentioned the green area, are you talking about the spot between the two buildings by where the mural is just painted?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the idea to put the band up there and then kind of have them facing out in that back parking lot and have everybody down there?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, that's cool. Sounds like fun.
So it'd
You
either
could
be
have
the
rolled
other
over
way
the spots
around.
for
Either
that.
the band would be down there, or the band would be up. I mean, we'll have to work it out, but probably the
Yeah.
band being higher would be better.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd look cool. Oh, that sounds cool.
Mhm.
Like I said, the response could be overwhelming. I
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Brian and Kim. Keep us in the loop, and Michelle stays on top of when things are opening up, so.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for your time. And
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming up with an alternate idea.
Yeah,
sure.
we're just trying to keep the community together.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Good,
you.
Thanks both.
Two more comments, sorry, before we go. before we leave that subject, from Harry Bookert, asks if anyone's talked to the health department with their thoughts, and also asks, protests will go where it can make the biggest impact. If we are the only festival around, we would have to prepare for that. So, food for thought.
Okay.
Well, if Harry, you're out there listening, this is the first that the presentation was made before council, so it's kind of things that we haven't addressed yet because we're just hearing them. So they had requested to address us about an alternative idea on First Street, and that was all we were really aware of. Nothing, there was not going to be any food vendors. I thought originally it was just going to be food served out of the bar or Jody's. So those are all things that you're correct, need to be addressed. So thank you, Terry, wherever you are out there. Okay. Moving on, Jenny, financial reports.
Okay, we got the new water meter replacement project contracts all signed, and we're moving forward there. And I wanted to let you know the service department Verizon account was hacked, and somebody was lucky enough to get 3 iPhone 11s for about $1,000 each and charged it to the village. They added 2 new lines and 2 new phones, but Verizon had already shipped the phones to a PO box, so they're going to get stuck eating the cost. It's going to take like a month or two to get it all straightened out, but they did assure me that we will not have to pay for any of this. So I don't know how that kind of thing happens, but anyway, we'll have to be on the lookout for that.
Sorry.
And I wanted to let you know what our tax receipts are looking like now. I'm going to try to keep things up to date every month. And I compared it with the actual year to date from last year. So our income tax is down almost 50,000. And I do think that the state delayed it till July 15th. So I think we are going to play catch up with some of that. But when I look at the numbers, it looks like we've lost about 30,000 in withholding tax that we won't get back. And we might lose a little bit more if Manaline's going to have their summer closures, like the chief sent our email out about that. So we might end up looking at a little bit more losses there. Local government funds, which is the sales tax, is down. But with the new local government allocation formula that the county is using this year, we were expecting a little bit less anyway. So we're not really that far behind, where it's making a big impact. Gas tax is up because of the change in the House bill, but I don't think it's where it should be. So I'm guessing that we probably should have received about 43,000 so far this year, and we're at 36. So we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe, with more people starting to get out and about, maybe that'll recover a little bit. License tax is down quite a bit, 17,000, but the BMVs have been closed. So I think we're going to play catch up with there also.
Yeah.
And the same with permissive taxes. That's down about 1,800. And that's the same thing. It's derived from vehicle registration fees. So I think that's also going to play catch up. But that's where we are with the taxes. I'm not feeling any need to be alarmed right now, but we will have to keep an eye on the income taxes, especially the employer withholding tax. That seems to be the one that we're not going to recover.
Can I ask a question, Jenny, when you're done there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you were saying about the income tax, and with like Manaline having been closed so many times. I guess this is maybe a little above my head, but when we're filing our income tax this year, it's for last year. So you're saying like the employee income tax that like Manaline or whatever company is paying quarterly is down.
Yes. What
not
they're
the
paying
tax that people are paying.
Yeah, they actually pay monthly now. So the
Okay.
monthly amounts are down, but it's for
Okay.
2020 taxes.
Okay, I just wanted that clear in my head. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then,
When you talk about the income tax, isn't that what's coming through Rita or not? I don't,
yes, it all comes through Rita, but
Okay.
it's kind of broken down in 3 different things. We've got employers withholding tax, which is like McDonald's and Maniline, and they're all withholding from their employees and paying every month. Then we've got our net profits, which are all the businesses, and then we've got our individuals, all the residents in town.
so
So
the income tax though is what the residents in town are reporting.
yes, and
That's down by 50,000.
well, all of it together is down 50,000.
All of it together, okay.
Yeah. And I would say the residents' income tax is down probably about 20,000. But I feel like when the filing deadline of July 15th comes, we're probably going to see that. So I think
And that's based on the 2019 income.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll give you updates every month. So, and then everybody got the financial reports. So I just wondered, did you have any questions?
No.
If not, then that's all I have.
Motion to approve the financial reports?
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Any correspondence?
Nope.
Me either. Motion to approve the bills of resolution and the addendum bills of resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty, Dave.
Yes.
And you also, that Jenny had sent out the Visa credit card expenses for May and June, correct?
Yep.
Okay, motion to, yeah. Moving on to legislation. Ordinance 2020-20, an ordinance approving and adopting a permanent budget for 2021 for the Village of Mantua after publication and public budget hearing pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 5705.30. Any discussion? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2020-25, a resolution requesting Manaway's share of funds for the Portage County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund and declaring an emergency. Everyone got the updated version that Michelle had sent out.
Yep.
And there are even more amendments. Sorry, I didn't get to send out even another copy, but I can share my screen and show you what they are, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Please do.
So, share screen. There is the stupid share screen thing. Share screen right here. This one. There. Okay, everybody got that?
I got a blank screen.
Well, give it a second. Should show up in a second. I hope. Okay.
Nope.
A little too big.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, took a few minutes, I'm sorry. So in addition to changing all the instances of Senate Bill 310 to House Bill 481, there's actually an error in the state legislation, which you'll see right here. They had 42 USC 601. The actual code section in 42 USC is 801. So, I mean, that's kind of we're not really sure if that's substantive since the state made the mistake as well. So that's in two places there and a little lower. And then one more thing, I figured since we have to create a fund to receive and track these monies, I thought we would add a line down here saying the clerk treasurer is hereby authorized and directed to establish the following special revenue fund, local coronavirus relief fund, using fund number 2902. So that's it. B41 and this one. So anybody have any questions about those?
I have a question about the legislation itself on what is eligible. I know that Jenny was saying that, you know, she had a couple things that she had listed the other day that we discussed at finance, but like the rental of the sanitizing machine that the chief has got for the village right now that we're renting. So that would probably be eligible.
We believe that will be eligible, yes. Now, lost revenue and other things like that are probably not going to be eligible. And there's some guidelines available that we can look at in more detail before we start attempting to put together a list of things we want to get reimbursed for.
Okay.
So, well, actually, we get the money, and then if we have any left over, we have to send it back.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll take a closer look at that list before we start spending money on things that we shouldn't.
Okay, I just wondered, you know, besides the financial things that we were going to submit for, you know, what kind of product kind of things. I mean, like the extra gloves that we've had to purchase and masks and different things like that. Were those going to be eligible items? And
those have a pretty good chance of being eligible too.
Okay.
And even the spraying that's for being directed for the park on a regular basis.
The cost of the actual spray and any equipment, probably. I'm not sure that we can put man hours into the mix too, though.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, that was, Paula. That was a good question. So maybe at this point when they start, we should, Mayor, maybe we should try and have them just break their hours out or try to keep track of how much time they do spend.
Yeah, just in
In
case.
case we find out that we can,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, let's try to log that time anyway.
It's pretty clear on the written documentation, man hours is not available.
Oh, okay.
The county and everything else, your man hours are not available, anything additional, and when you split time, unfortunately. We'd like it to be, but it's not.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to suspend the rules and go ahead and get this done?
Michelle, is this something we need to suspend the rules on to get it moving forward?
I think so, because I imagine the county's going to be getting their share of the money fairly soon. So the sooner we pass it, the sooner we can put it into play.
Okay. Should we make a motion to make the amendments that we all viewed on screen?
So moved.
Second.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Motion to approve is amended.
So moved.
Got to suspend the rules.
Oh.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Sorry.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes,
Okay, now motion to approve is
so
amended.
moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to department heads. Chief Urso.
Good evening, everybody. We did not have a safety meeting this month. We are just taking everything day by day, the same as we're watching what the government's doing, the governor, and how we're opening up. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on the park, and we're still encouraging social distancing. We still have the government center locked down by appointment only. Starting to see more traffic as people are coming out, so we're making people aware of, what we're supposed to be doing, and we'll probably have a meeting next month in July, and we'll be able to discuss if what the governor's going to do on July 1st at the end of this month. So maybe we'll have some guidance as far as what we can do to start opening our government up a little bit. But other than that, that's all that I have at this point.
Okay, thank you. John True, Village Administrator.
Yes, we got the CCR out. It's going to hit the water bills. Also, it's on the website already, and we're going to put that URL on the website. Thank you for doing that, Michelle, by the way. Also, we've had some problems at a small water leak up on Firmway. As far as I know today, the guys had that handled. We also have had some problems with North River Lift Station. North River Lift Station had some electrical issues, significant ones. We had to rewire it and switch some wires around. And it also has a top and a cement, but I think a couple $100 we'll be able to fix that top right now, but it's ready to fall in down by the ice cream station there. So we're gonna fix that up this week. We'll have to have a new top poured for that lift station. Out of that, we're working on our projects, trying to stay busy. A lot of brush in town this time of year too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and John, share with them that we got that quote from Veneer Tree Service for the trees down on the Booker Trail.
Yes, it was significant cheaper, and they're going to start within 2 weeks and get all those trees down on Booker Trail. I believe the quote, I don't have it in front of me, it was under $2,000.
I think it was 2310.
Yeah. Much cheaper.
Hey, did you open bid packets for the,
Orchard?
yeah,
CT is going to be speaking to that later. We didn't have bid packets, but quotes, but they will speak to it, and they weren't very favorable.
oh, perfect.
Anything else, John?
That's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Rich Ifelis, CT Consultants. You're muted.
Thanks, Mayor. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Good to see you all. So John teed it up for me. Thanks, John. So we had a couple setbacks this week. First with the Orchard Street intersection widening bids. So if I may, with your permission, I would like to share a screen to show you the results.
Okay.
Okay. So we received bids for both applications of concrete and asphalt. We separated them between. I'm sorry, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the bidders, unfortunately, again, we only received 2 bidders, but they're both quality folks that we invited, Roniak and Caron.
Roniak at Prospect Street, right?
Correct.
Yep.
No, that wasn't Roniak on Prospect.
No?
Name escapes me.
Okay. It sounded familiar. It's okay.
Yeah. So I'm showing you contract B because contract A was it was only Karen Asphalt bid the concrete alternative over 62,000 on contract A. So we allowed concrete option as well as asphalt. Roniak's bid is 55,017 and you see Karen's at 59. So the project cost is summarized here for you to look at. And so you may or may not recall the project cost at 62. So the construction portion of it with the contingencies in here was roughly $46,000. And that's when I had identified we were under 50. So we did a solicitation of bids of pre-qualified contractors, both with expertise in concrete as well as asphalt. We got the two bids, as I mentioned, or two bidders, Roniak and Karen Asphalt. So we have about 46,000 easement cost. I don't think we incurred much, if any. So we're in the 46, 47, but we have a low bid of 55. So we took solicitation of bids because we were under 50, and unfortunately the low bid is over 50. So I have to defer to Michelle on that, but before I do, I kind of discovered a little anomaly here to bring to your attention. So, and this was just this morning, I was going through the data and the information. This is the bid, 55. This is showing 46, 47,000 in construction with 62 total cost. And then I pulled up the agreement that we got from ODOT, and ODOT is showing this figure. Their grant of 35. The village back earlier this year is participating okay through finance, $12,000. And the local businesses, it shows here in this agreement, is 15. Again, for the total 62, which was our estimate going in, 62. However, the businesses obligated 19,000, not 15. So on the local share, we have not 15, we have 19, plus the 12 is 31. We actually have 66 available in total project cost. So there's an extra 4. I don't know how that occurred. I know it's very well documented. I looked up all the letters of commitments from the businesses and it totaled $19,000. The mayor had communicated to ODOT. I double checked it. I added it up. It's 19. So just bringing to your attention that there's another 4,000 floating there. We have 35 from ODOT. We had the 12 from here, from the village, 47. We have 19, so we have 66,000 available in project cost.
If I can interrupt,
Go ahead, Mayor.
if you could look through all the paperwork that we have, and John, help me on this. ODOT was only giving us 31 originally, and that's what we based the 12,000 and the 19,000 that the businesses came. If you read through the legislation that Michelle passed, we had said that we would use that $4,000 as a buffer so we wouldn't have any overage. And the legislation also says that at the end of the project, anything left over would be split proportionately, like however much each business.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that's for. That's kind of our silent buffer. So we don't go over any budgets.
Okay. Well, the silent buffer is no longer silent, depending on how you want to, do this.
That's probably bad terminology, but
No, I get it, Mayor. Thank you. No, I get it. But this is the actual agreement signed by the director of ODOT.
Right.
Obligating 35 from them.
But
So
they originally had said 31, and that's how we.
correct.
That's
So
why the businesses agreed to the 19. It shows in the legislation as 19.
So I had, back when we were costing this out, I had a recommendation last year. And it's right here. So when we were trying to look at economies of scale, I had some thoughts about the village taking on maybe some of the work, as you can see here that I highlighted. There's a few items in there: inlet basin, final seeding and mulching, things of that, getting donated materials and such, or pre-purchased materials. But now, before entering into a contract, I just bring that to your attention that we're within a window, if you will, albeit that it still was over 50,000, but that we have, instead of, let me get back to the estimate, instead of 46 or 47,000, we have 50, 51, and we have a low bid of 55. The alternative is to rebid, but because we can't, the bids are coming in over 50, I presume, I know Michelle would weigh in that we'd have to go through a public bid process, since we're right on the cuff. So I was throwing out some ideas here to try to make this work. We have a quality contractor at 55. And this would be something, again, I didn't get an opportunity to talk to John or the mayor about this in advance. If we were able to non-perform a few items in there, excuse me, to the tune of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to get this back to budget, maybe we can make it work. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to present. This is just the first time this. I didn't expect a decision or anything on this. Again, I did not get an opportunity to review this with the mayor and John, because I was just looking at this today and figuring out the dollars, because we just took bids on Thursday. So any questions, did I communicate it right, just to give you a picture of where we're at? So on the surface, it's $8,000 plus in extra cost, but it may be more like 4, and wondering if the village, we may be able to non-perform some items and do some work. Again, council can't make, and I'm not asking council for a resolution on this, but perhaps between the mayor, John, and I, and our designer, we can kind of see if there is something to work out here. If we can get back to like 50,000 or so.
Hey, Rich, can you put up the itemized screen again?
Yes.
I guess my question would be, you're asking if the village employees can do $5,000 to $8,000 worth of work, and we're still going to be ending up to pay them. So that means that the village's portion would be rising. It's still going to be over the $50,000 threshold, so it's still going to have to be bid. Am I correct, Michelle, or not?
Again, I didn't get a chance to talk to Michelle about this either, since it was right on the edge of the 50K.
You're gonna have
Muted.
You're muted, Michelle.
come on. Okay, you're gonna have to try to come back with a bottom line under 50 for it to work. I don't know how you're gonna do that, and I don't know that we can do it tonight, but.
Okay. No, I don't expect it tonight. Absolutely, Michelle. So in the alternative to rebid, seeing where we're at in terms of the bids that we did receive, there is the potential for additional local share, because ODOT is maxed at the 35. So there's a potential for additional funds from the village. I'm just kind of, look at the 55, we're going to rebid. It could be 4,000. Right now it's about 4,000 extra or so that we can fit into the project budget. Rebidding, I can't predict it. Our contract pricing that we're getting is just astronomically all over the place. And a lot of them are extremely low, but small jobs are getting priced very high. Big jobs are coming in very, very low from what we're seeing here this spring. So,
well, we have several things probably to look at while we discuss that. because the 12,000 that the village itself committed was the Senko Bain money. I think it's line item 4905. Is that correct, Jenny?
Yeah,
So, I mean, we'd have to find, I don't know how much we have in there now that we've done that. I have to pull out your reports. And again, I'm not asking anybody to make any decisions. It's just, I will not ask these businesses for more money on this project at all.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
Well, just let Rich take a look at it, see if he can bring it down some. And then see if the contractor will go along with it. It's very possible that that can be done.
I'm sorry, Ben, I didn't hear the first part.
I said that to let Rich see if he can bring the price down and is to see if the contractor will go along with it. It's very possible that he can probably do that. I said let him do what he was talking about. He can't make a decision right now anyway.
No, you can't. I understand
Right.
what you're saying, Ben, but under at least public bidding, this is a private solicitation, really have to enter in a contract and then negotiate. I don't know if I'm at liberty to negotiate before entering into a contract.
Aha,
So,
that's interesting.
yes. Anyhow, just so you got a picture of it. Again, if there's any questions, you got a picture of it. We're close, but it appears that, and I can't disagree with the mayor. I only mentioned that as an option because I brought it up last summer, but I doubt that, the village could do that force account work by contributing some labor and doing some work. So, okay. The other setback, and I'll leave it on sharing my screen. The other setback was, and John can speak to it. John, and if you're aware of it now, that he spoke with the property owner for the north of the booster station, is reluctant to give up his property for a permanent tank. So it's gonna create, unfortunately, additional cost. We already have additional cost project now it creates even more. So I'm showing you the site plan of the booster station, I'm showing you where the existing reservoir is. This is an earlier site plan where we were examining the ability to fit the tank in between the two on our property. And what we had to look at was the fact that this tank reservoir, the existing reservoir, is potentially going to collapse once we excavate for the foundation of a new tank. Without boring you with the details, we had to look at the potential removal of material against the wall of the existing reservoir and the potential of collapse when the water is let go. I just wanted to report to you because, again, we just got word on this from the property owner, a Mr. Gonzi, that is reluctant only to share his property for a temporary tank, and then remove it and restore it, which will help doing this, except the fact that we have to build the tank now in close proximity to a building and our existing water supply. So, the design team, I charged with kind of looking at alternatives, and one of them is kind of bizarre. One of them is removing the roof that's going to threaten to collapse and trying to drill our piles through here, and building the tank in the same location as the reservoir. I'm gonna have our structural engineer look at it. But, and then the option of this tank, which is this is a large diameter, it's gonna be smaller diameter and then shifted to the south where we have more room. But we're gonna have to relocate some piping to fit this in. The rough guess is we're looking at another $50,000 on this project because of the reluctance of being able to use that other property. What the other property allowed us to do is build the tank and keep this in service. We don't have room to keep this in service, build the tank. We have to do a temporary tank. Now we have to do a temporary tank, which has been costed out about $50,000 in order to do the project. So anyhow, it's a lot of extra cost on this job. Just want to make you aware of it. At this point, what I was planning to do, other than just brief you this evening, was to summarize it in a memorandum, so you have something written to look at the costs, grant, OPWC grant, the loan, and the local share. And then once our design team looks at these alternatives, update the overall cost.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Mayor.
Can you go pull the screen up so we can see the yellow screen? Okay, to the far right, that's the temporary tank, correct?
That's our booster station.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, the temporary tank is not shown.
Okay. Well, then let me just ask this question then. Okay, where'd it go?
I'm showing you the temporary tank.
I really didn't need to see the temporary tank.
Oh.
Here's my question. If we have to put up a temporary tank to the tune of $50,000 to build the new tank that's in the center, and you're afraid that the old reservoir of the wall is going to collapse, if we have the temporary tank in place, why does it matter if the wall collapses or not? Because it would be empty.
It's not.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
Again, there's a lot of details. I don't want to kind of go into that, but it has to do with lateral earth pressure and the fact that the collapse. What it doesn't allow us to do is build the new tank. We need room to do this.
I was just thinking, if you had the temporary tank up and it was functional, you drain the old one, you collapse it and get it out of the way and put the new tank up. I mean, that's in my world, but I'm not.
I get it. Yeah. We'll look at those. We'll look at those options, and I'll summarize it for you. It's just I just wanted to make you aware it's extra cost.
Thank you.
Extra cost. The only other thing I wanted to excuse me, report on was the at least in general, the renegotiation with Portage County. There's been a different alternative proposed. As you've seen in my report, I've kind of repeated it the last 3 months. And I know it's been difficult through the COVID, but perhaps through Zoom, this sharing screen might facilitate a very good way for council to review these options and the impacts of an alternative rate structure on the surcharge. I've provided the committee with the impacts it has on the low user, the medium user, the high user. And I think, Mayor, we're somewhat optimistic about the direction we're going. At least I feel that way. But council, I think it's hard for us to move forward. We need, I would recommend some type of interactive session just devoted to that. We can discuss it and go through it and kind of, answer questions and show what's going on.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think we've reached a point where, yeah, we need to let them know exactly where this is heading, and if they need us to turn around and come in from a different direction, then they need to say so, yes.
And
Okay.
if you're going to go forward with that, it sounds like you're going to try and present it over the Zoom. I hope we have some documentation of what is being presented, so we have time to look at it and digest it before that presentation, before we get that workshop together.
Exactly. And all of that's not, it's been provided not by us, by the county. I'll try to assemble it, Mayor, in some form to distribute in advance. I think it has, I guess without a narrative attached to it, it might be hard. If Michelle, John, and Mary and Dave might agree, it's just, it's numbers. It's some memorandum in an email, but maybe it does the trick, but it is what we have.
Are any of the minutes that have been taken at these sessions, would they be beneficial to us to help us understand where this is heading? And
Possibly, if we could consolidate
Yeah,
them. I mean,
absolutely.
there's a lot, so
Yeah.
we'd want to try to provide a condensed version. Yeah.
Yeah. Tia's taken some really good minutes. Yes, Paul, absolutely.
I mean, we've
And
got to
then
have
most importantly, I think most importantly, we're going to need to talk through the communication plan within the village. It's going to be probably the most important component of this, because we as a negotiation team are going to come to the table with what we feel is a better alternative to what we had passed initially. So we have a handful of residents within the village who need to be educated in regard to the new plan versus the old plan. So it's going to be really important for us to figure out how to do that effectively.
Right. Well, I'll assemble that, Mayor, Dave, John, and Michelle, and then see how you want to distribute it to council and maybe schedule something in the future. I think it'd be worthwhile.
So how soon can you get all this stuff ready to distribute to council? And I think you had indicated that you would like us to meet before we meet with the county again, which is next Friday, the 26th.
This week, I can easily do it in the next day or two.
Now, the one thing I want to bring up here is as we're addressing this and as Rich is volunteering to do all this, we're treating him like an employee, and he's a contractor. I mean, so what is the project we're asking him to do? And is there somebody else within the village, like somebody else that's on the team that's that could do this and not go through the expense?
Sure. I was just offering, yeah. It's somebody. Absolutely.
I don't know who that would be. Do you have someone in mind, Paula?
Well, and not, you have been involved with the negotiations and what is going on. And I think what we need is an explanation that is understandable and so we know where we're headed, where the team is headed.
Yeah, and I think Rich is probably the most qualified person to do that, in my opinion.
But what is it going to cost us? What are we asking our contractor to give us as a deliverable? And that's what I want to know, because we are, everything keeps fluctuating, and the reservoir right now, it's up 150,000 at least. And what is the deliverable we're looking for?
I respect that, Paul. Yeah, I'm running out of PO authorization anyway. So yeah, it is taking a lot of time, the last year and a half. Absolutely.
Mayor, do you have a suggestion?
I got one. Let Rich do what he offered to do because no one else is going to be able to do it right. I don't believe. I don't believe any of us are qualified to do it.
I'm certainly not.
I'm not because I ain't even been involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Right.
that's the problem. We have people that have been involved with it. The mayor, John, Dave, Ted, they've all been involved. Michelle. You know, I don't know what he's gonna present. I don't know what we're asking for him to present. But there's been a lot of people involved in those meetings and it's not, you know, what's it gonna?
Oh,
Yeah, if I could just add, Rich has all the empirical data that were needed, no matter what we would give as a statement. He would need the empirical data to back it up and so that you fully understand it. You know, just a statement of where we're at is not going to be sufficient enough. And he's been presenting back and forth with the county a lot of empirical data as we went along. So that's why I agree. He has himself and his staff available, whereas we don't have the access to that kind of staff. That's why
where
it's
the expertise.
I mean, just because people like myself are involved in the negotiation, it doesn't necessarily mean we're qualified enough to put together our detailed report of those discussions. I mean, we're there to contribute our opinion and to try to land on a solution that we feel is best for the village. But you know, having been a part of these, I think Rich is certainly the one most qualified to provide that deliverable as you refer to it, Paula.
Paula, I agree with you about the cost. I do agree with that. It's just that I don't know anybody else that's going to have the expertise to do it.
Mm-mm.
True.
Just let the man do it. Because otherwise we're not going to know what we're talking about.
All of council has to be in agreement if they want Rich to proceed or not.
I do.
I do.
Agree.
I do.
What about you, Matt?
No, I'm sorry. I said I agree. Yes.
Okay.
So what you're saying is, the only way we're gonna get any information is if Rich takes time to put it all together because he's the only one that understands what's going on.
I wouldn't say he's the only one who understands what's going on. That would be an unfair statement. I would say that he is the most qualified person to compile the information and present it to all of us in a way that we can evaluate it appropriately.
John, do you think that's a fair statement?
Most definitely. He has all the empirical data, all the graphs, the charts, some of the things. And we can make a broad statement, but that's just a broad statement. And nobody's going to leave a broad statement without empirical data to back it up. And it's very favorable in the village's favor about where we're going. And that's
correct
in and of itself. But we want to make sure that, you know, it's correct as it was favorable last time. It's even more favorable this time. And but we need the data to back it up. That's all.
John, that last one wasn't favorable to the village.
No, it was not.
No, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with the village. It only had to do with the county.
It took time for them to begin to understand what was in their cost structure.
Do you know that it's almost 300 pages to that ordinance? We count all the denims together, it's close to 300 pages. We didn't even see all that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'm not qualified to do it. I'm qualified to read it and understand it, but not qualified to do it.
Yeah, same here.
Same here.
Yep.
I mean, there were multiple Excel documents with there's a tremendous amount of data that's been analyzed over the course of the past few months. And I'm, probably a 5 on a 10-point scale in regard to being able to manipulate and present that. And that certainly would not be adequate for this. So Rich and his team are the ones that have been working on the data and all the different formulas and all the different scenarios for months. So there's really no other answer than having Rich put that.
Well,
Oh,
if they're saying everybody has to agree, and I'm gonna be the only holdout. I mean, this is,
Then you need to provide an alternate solution. It's okay to disagree as long as you have a
my
plan.
ultimate solution is, and it's easy for you to say, he's the only one that's got all the empirical data, that they've been doing the only analysis.
I agree with you, Paul, about the cost is a little ridiculous, but I don't know anybody else that can do it.
I know that the,
So what would be the alternative, Paula?
I'm asking you or to talk to Ted or John to begin to put some of this together. You've been in these meetings,
We're not qualified.
okay?
I'm humble enough to admit that I'm not qualified enough to do that. And I want to make a decision that's best for the village. And if we have to incur an additional cost, I think in the long run, the investment will yield the greatest result for the village. That's why I'm promoting it.
Rich, do you have a,
Michelle,
you're
you're
muted.
Muted.
You're muted, Michelle.
I unmuted myself and then I remuted by accident. I'm sorry. Okay, Rich, do you have a ballpark about how much additional this report that we're talking about right now might cost or not to exceed cost? Because I think the way to handle this tonight, you don't.
The reason being, you have given me at least 4 authorizations since 2018, when we started on this. The bidding, the negotiations, writing the RFQ. So there's been accumulation of historical data, which is what everybody's referring to. The history, the spreadsheets, the evolution from where we were to where we are today. And it's not just reporting it, it's being able to do a comparative analysis on its impact to the village residents. And that's what essentially it is. Yeah, this could be another few hours worth of time, but then what's after that? And what's after that? And then you enter and negotiate. So you've been, the villages, I've been trying to do it $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 purchase orders, but it keeps, there hasn't been an end to it. Knock on wood, maybe we are reaching the light at the end of the tunnel. Again, I'm feeling somewhat optimistic. That's why I've recommended reviewing this. This all started from my suggesting, not me, reviewing with council, review what we've done with council. But in order to provide all the information, gather it, put a little narrative to it, it's a few hours. But then there's more after that, and after that, and after that.
and that's one of the things that I'm getting at. It's not just on Rich, it's from this council's perspective. We're treating him like an employee and we're saying, do the work, do the hours, whatever it takes, because you're on our payroll. And we aren't giving him, I don't know that we give him information about what is it that we want back? What is it he's gonna give us? All this history and that we've gotten before, and it's gonna be put together in a different format and regurgitated again? I think we need to know what we're getting, what we're asking for. empirical data?
I think it's pretty clear what we're asking for. We're asking for Rich to provide a report that outlines the new negotiated agreement with the county, the ultimate impact to the residents of the village, and a comparative analysis of why this agreement is superior to the original agreement. Period. That's what we're asking for. And Rich is the most qualified person to do that. Couldn't be any clearer.
I think it's kind of muddy myself, but okay. Then I want it to be clear when it's presented, because this is just
Well, then I'll politely,
accumulating from the council perspective and saying, oh yeah, we want a little bit more information.
yeah, I'll politely object, Paul. This has been an evolving negotiation, renegotiation. If you told me 6 months ago what I'd be doing today, I couldn't have predicted it. So in order to predict an outcome, we're in a situation where it's evolving, and the county presented a new alternative. That's
Right.
all I was suggesting.
Right.
All I'm suggesting is presenting an overview of the new alternative and its impact on the village. And then maybe there's then would be questions, and you'll say, okay, run this, or what happens to this user, the mid-level Crestwood user and the Mannaline user, and things like that, how this structure they proposed works. We didn't propose it, they did. And it's new. So I couldn't have predicted it last year. They came up with something new because of a review of their rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm suggesting is to review it with council.
It's pretty straightforward.
It's being, I have a year and a half or more invested in this already. But if you choose to just review it in-house, that's fine. And I'll participate. I was just offering to put it together in advance as you requested.
Paula, I don't know about you, but I feel, you and I and Ben, Matt, not being involved, Marty, involved in the negotiations, I feel like the information that we can glean off of Dave or John or Linda when we do, it's muddy anyway. Because we're not there, you know what I mean? I always feel like we're kind of picking up bits and pieces and trying to put them together. And going through all this, and maybe with what Rich can afford to do for us, the rest of us can get a better, clearer understanding of what's going on with the county right now. Because to be honest with you, I have no idea what's going on with the county right now. I know bits and pieces, that's it. But
with the last one, they gave us 30 days to review it and make a decision and go with it. And okay, I gave you the authorization, go ahead. But this is not a good way for council to be doing business.
Well, I guess Rich, council, with one council person reluctantly doing so, wants you to proceed to put this together. Is that correct, council people?
Yes.
yes.
And if you're waiting for me to say it again, I said it once.
Well,
And I am reluctant, but I said it.
If I may, I can understand your feelings about this, but I think you could be a little more diplomatic in the way you present it.
Okay, I hear you.
I agree. We certainly don't want any hostility during these meetings.
So we can move on. Rich, if you would proceed with getting us the report, we'd appreciate it. as soon as you can estimate what your cost on this is, to get it to us so we can email it to everyone.
Okay,
Or I guess we should approve an authorization prior to, since I'd hate for you to do this work and then it be denied.
thank you for that. So, yeah,
I think for our purposes tonight, it would be helpful if somebody made a motion to approve authorizing Rich to prepare this report at a cost not to exceed X dollars. And then you can vote on it and then it's clear in the minutes.
Do we need to state the X amount?
I can't state that.
Okay, so how would we determine not to exceed
Ask
amount?
Rich.
We can't put them on the spot that way.
yeah,
Or you're not gonna know the cost.
I wasn't prepared to do that. I was
Yeah.
only recommending that council review. I'm sorry, I'm being, yeah, you decide. I'm not gonna tell you. You've given me authorizations for $5,000 repeatedly, 3, 4, 5 times. This isn't the end of the project. This isn't the end of the agreement. We have more to do. If you can't use it, want to use your city village engineer or consultant to do it, then let me know. And I'll turn over what I have to you. You can't keep groveling for extra. I'm trying to help you.
Yes, I recognize and appreciate that, Rich, and I understand that we shouldn't be asking you to grovel for more work. This is a project that is necessary.
need it.
You're the
I
most
got plenty of
qualified
work
person
to
to do this, and it needs to be done, period.
Yeah, I always thought, serving the village for 30 years, this has been the best interest of the village to get this done. I know that. I've lived it.
Mhm.
I just know. I just want it for my own peace of mind. I want to see it get done for the village's interest.
I would
Okay.
like council to make a motion to approve a work authorization not to exceed $5,000 for the additional work needed to continue the work on the negotiations with the county.
So moved.
Second,
Ben,
Yes,
Marty,
Yes.
Dave,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. That's all I had this evening. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize, Rich. Moving on to committee, Scott Weaver for Services and Planning.
Service. I think we spent most of our evening discussing the cemetery. Which I think we turned over to finance, as a matter of fact, but
yeah, which will become a topic for tonight. Yep.
okay, so that was it. We spent most of our time talking about the cemetery and the mowing at the cemetery and the trust at the cemetery and the endowments and then the Orchard Street widening, which, well, we all know about that. We all know the news up there. So it was a short meeting, so I'll let that go. Planning, we had some requests to review some of our legislation or some of our site plan review. Thomas asked us to review that, which we're going to do. We're gonna go through the book and review some of our codes that we have. We discussed the mural and how we're gonna try and go forward or move forward with murals or sign sizes. We're gonna look at all of our sign regulations again. The Landmark Commission brought up some street posts. They want to they want to change our old concrete street post to replace. I mean, they want to help us try to replace those posts. And John, were you able to contact ODOT? You were going to look into the compliance, what we need, if we need breakaway posts or.
Yeah, he hasn't called me back yet, but I do have a call to him, trying to work, see what we have to do historically to make this project work.
Okay, so I mean, in case no one was aware, we're trying to do something to keep it historic. But John was saying, we have to really be careful on the posts that we put in. They need to be breakaway. We don't want cars plowing into something and somebody getting injured. So, but trying to keep with, maybe the look of the old post, but trying to keep it historic. So, and we did not have everybody at the meeting. We were missing one of our teammates, so we did not go over our backlit. We want to revisit backlit signs in the village and the ordinance on backlit signs. So once we have a full team, we will be reviewing a lot more than we were able to this month. But that was it.
Marty, Parks and Shade Tree?
I don't have much for either one. Everything's been relatively dormant. Park's closed.
True. Okay, we'll move on to cemetery. I hope everybody took the time to read the narrative that I put together. We did talk about it without a narrative at service, so I apologize. I didn't realize it would be circling each other quite so much. So I hope the narrative helped. Everybody did receive the narrative? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So the first thing is you all know that I had asked Jenny for a spreadsheet of how much we had from the trust, how much we had received from the trust that we had not spent. And so she gave us the last 4 years, and the total of the last 4 years, with the last two being the highest, we had almost $7,000. So at finance, they felt that we should write a letter of some sort to Mr. Lombardi explaining to him the overage and how it occurred by not having so many mows because of the wet weather and such. And so I will try to put something together before service and show it to service before I send. I'll send it to everybody, but we'll talk about it at service again. During that time, it was discussed that we should probably reduce the mows. Jenny made a suggestion because we've been having some complaints about the mowing. The mower is on a 7-day cycle for mowing. He's going to move us back to a 5-day cycle for mowing, and he was only supposed to weed whip once a month, and he doesn't have to blow off the headstones only for Memorial Day weekend. It's the plot owner's responsibility to maintain their headstones and what they have on there and such. So, but Jenny suggested that maybe we have him start weed whipping every mow, and that possibly, since we have been paid for 30 mows this year, we can approach Tom Nipper and see how much he would charge us to weed whip every month, that we could take that out of the additional mows that we haven't been using on for this year. And then we'll have to adjust to make sure we do it correctly next year. Is council all right with that idea?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to make a motion so we have it on the book, so when I call him, I can tell him, please?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Okay. Michelle, do I need a motion to draft a letter to Mr. Lombardi about the overreach from the last couple of years?
No, I don't think so. I think that's an accounting thing that needs to be done.
I'll put a draft together and get it to you. So that takes care of that part. The next part is the different trust funds. We all know that we have the Thompson $1 Million Trust Fund. And as you can see from the narrative, they've been paying for all the earns for the different trusts. Names are basically the same on both of these. There's 20 some people, one being the Cemetery Endowment, which is the Hilltop Ladies Cemetery Association that was given to the village that has $13,000 in it. And then the other one is basically a copy of it that, you know, says that they were supposed to have it. So most of these originated, I'm not going to say all, but most of these started out on the Cemetery Endowment Fund. And somehow over the years, the past mayors, I guess, Jenny said Carolyn Thompson had handled some of the things. And so it's all been being sent to the cemetery, the Thompson Trust. So, I mean, we probably could go through the files and see when this happened, but that $13,000 endowment that is most of the names on this list, you know, have that money's just been sitting there. We take the interest out every year. I think Jenny said it was around $260 a year that we get in interest, and then we just leave that sit there. I think council should consider what to do with that. I think Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, I think you said that, because you have the paperwork, I don't, that the trust says that we could dip into the principal of that if need be.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, the interest goes right into cemetery operating.
Right, but so that's not cemetery flowers for these people that wanted flowers. So then that's fine. So I don't know, should we check into combining the Cemetery Ladies Endowment Fund with the Thompson Trust, and then it wouldn't be an issue? I mean, that's just a thought, and we'll leave that one go for now.
I don't think
the biggest issue is the Coit, Vienna Coit Trust Fund that was terminated back in 2009. And it was terminated because the funds were getting low, but it was $4,800 and some odd. So that money was put into the cemetery fund, which is where it should have gone. And now it's gone. During the course of planting this year, Dave and Cookie, they were approached by someone that said that they were relatives of the Coits and asked if there was any funds left in their family trust because the flower bed was a little smaller. And Cookie and Dave didn't know. And when they came, I did some research and found some stuff from a past mayor in my office and saw that and made the inquiries of Jenny. And we've had many discussions about it. And Jenny, I think, had told me that over the years, someone from Arizona that was a Coit member stopped in and asked about the trust, and she gave him an answer on that. She would have to respond to what she told me that she said to them. But these people that were here before Memorial Day said that they were lived over in Kent. So apparently they are not aware that the trust was terminated. So I'm not sure. Do we owe these people this money? Jenny says we cannot like put it in a line item like we have the endowment fund because you can't do that. So that we can actually say, you know, we did receive the money and we've been paying $75 or $100 for flowers for your family plot. I don't know what the answer is, but I need some kind of a direction from council to tell these people no, your trust is gone. No, your trust isn't gone. They had indicated to Cookie and Dave that they would be willing to give us money towards their flowers, but I mean, we really haven't used their $4,800
Right.
got for flowers.
Right. Yeah. So I think we decided, or we at least we recommended in finance that we simply we continue to fulfill their requests, the family's request, knowing that the funds are available if they want, a larger flower bed or whatever the case might be. And I don't know whether we have to keep track of those expenses, and then once they exceed the 4,800, if in fact those funds still remain, then we say it's exhausted. But I certainly think we should continue to provide the family with whatever it is they're looking for.
I agree.
I do too.
Is there any way to figure out what it costs to put flowers on their grave sites?
We can next year when we order the plants, then Cookie can say, okay, I ordered so many begonias and so many of this and so many of that, and that filled up this size area, yes. And possibly she could give us a ballpark idea of what she's going to be able to see which plants she put in there this year. So yes, we could get some kind of idea.
The question about that endowment, that's, what to do with the money and not to do with money, where you can put it back into the Thompson Fund. That's a legal question there. That's someone's got with legal abilities has got to be able to answer that. None of us can.
You're not going to be able to put any of this money in the Thompson Trust. The Thompson Trust is its own entity. It's operated and overseen by the probate court. It stands on its own. We put in our request every year to get expenditures from it. That has to stay itself. Now, this $4,800 that came from being a Coit apparently got absorbed into cemetery operating. And this is the question that you're dealing with now, is how to account for it, what to do with it, how to take care of the Coit family's request. Obviously, the money is not its own separate entity anymore. But if you want to continue to honor their request, then you would do that out of cemetery operating.
Can we make the money its own separate entity?
I guess that would be up to Jenny if she can separate it back out into a line item. But I mean, I don't think you're going to reestablish a trust that's been terminated by the probate court.
I think the easiest thing would be to create a purchase order for the 4,800 and just not close it, or else reopen one for the remaining amount every year. And that's how we would track spending that down. But
Yeah.
when somebody sets up a trust, they have to know that there's going to be fees. Like the trustee for the Thompson Trust gets like $35,000 a year. And just to insure the trust is another 20 or 30,000. So they have to know that there are fees, and there's going to come a point where it's going to run out.
Right.
And that, I don't think that makes it our responsibility. Now that 4,800, I think we do owe the family.
Do we have any idea what that trust was originally?
I don't know, but I'm sure there's a document, that I could find.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to the $4,500 or $4,800 is what portion of that trust.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, the fees on a $5,000 trust can't be that much.
Right.
So when you're paying an attorney, it probably would be. So I guess what I want to ask then, if Jenny puts this on an open PO, and we need to send these people a letter to let them know that their trust only has $4,800 and odd change in it. And once that's gone, that if they want to donate more, that's fine. If not, then we'll continue to put up some flowers there, but it might not be as big as what they've had or something. We'll draft something before we send it to them for everybody to look at. Is everybody in agreement with that? A motion to draft a letter for that?
Don't need a motion to draft a letter.
I think Ben made a motion.
I didn't make a motion. I just said I didn't think you needed a motion to draft a letter. That's what I said.
Okay.
You can draft a letter.
Okay, then I will draft a letter for everybody to read.
Okay.
Good.
That just leaves one more question on the, while we're talking about cemetery. Cemetery Trust had paid us $4,000 in 2014 to do the doors on the cemetery mausoleum that still have not been done. We had gotten a price from a local contractor that was going to do it, and it's never gotten done. I personally say we cut ties, contact this contractor and say, we're going to go get somebody else and get some different quotes so we can get this done, because the Coits apparently have a key to the door. Anybody that has been buried in the mausoleum, a family member was given a key to get in, and because the doors are not hanging correctly, it won't open.
Yes. If it's been 2 years, just go ahead and cut ties with them and get someone else.
Well, it's been since 2014, so it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
John,
agree.
that's what we'll do, John. Okay, thank you. Moving on to Paula, Regional Planning and Safety.
Okay. With regional planning, they're talking about moving, they're exploring the idea of having all of our papers online instead of sending out the packages. So there is movement on that from other organizations, from other government organizations. And safety, we had no meeting, so that's it.
Dave Saluka, Finance.
Well, you covered the bulk of our conversation. I had brought up the Mantua billing issue that turned out to not be as significant as we thought, but I think the new meters are going to take care of any discrepancies that we have experienced in the past. So I'm looking forward to those being installed. There was another topic, and Jenny, you brought it up about the capital improvement charges. So I don't know if that's something that we need to talk any more about with council. And when I stopped in to pick up my council packet, Mary Ann mentioned something about there were only a couple accounts that had the wrong charges attached to them. So I'm still a little confused about what the issue is relative to that.
I think we just have to figure out if it should be prorated by the day or if it should be a monthly charge. Like it was written as a monthly charge, but the way that the software is doing it is prorating it daily.
Yeah, well, I think it should be monthly.
Well, I think that if you go back to the legislation that we passed, it was ambiguous enough that it wasn't clear if it was supposed to be daily or monthly. I think we all had taken the assumption. So I think you guys were sent copies. Mary Ann had just sent you copies of what she had sent to Service. So you guys, Finance should have received that, and you guys had said you would send it back to Service for them to discuss and then send it back to you guys if they had wanted changes. That's the way I understood it. But there weren't mistakes of $1.10. It was because Mary Ann, the system is working the way it was meant to work now. And so it's been prorating it daily.
So are there some changes that need to be, I guess the question is, are there changes that need to be made to the system?
Once we go, there will be some upgrades to the system once we go with the new meters.
Okay.
But as far as that legislation, we just need to clarify the legislation and make sure that the legislation matches what we have them program into the system. Did I explain that right, Michelle?
You're muted, Michelle.
You're muted.
Okay. Okay, I couldn't get the button to hit. Anyway, yes, I do think that probably the legislation will need to be clarified if we could discuss it at service and if it's decided to let the software continue to prorate it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with two entities being charged a monthly capital improvement fee, and then you get the capital improvement fee twice on the same account. If, you know, somebody moves out and you charge them a month's capital improvement and somebody moves in the next day and they get charged a month's capital improvement, you get it twice. So it may be better to let the software do what it wants to do and just prorate it. But again, since there's already ambiguity in our ordinances, that does need to be cleared up.
It's best to let the software do what it does. If not, you're gonna probably have to buy another software.
Right, so I just think let's service review it. Michelle's gonna be in on those meetings as long as we're Zooming. So, and then I'll get back to finance next month.
Okay.
All right, done? Dave,
Yes.
is there any other new or other business? Anything else that may properly come before council? Is an executive session needed?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to consider the investigation of a complaint against a public official.
Do we need a second? I'll second it.
Dave,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
You're muted, Matt.
Matt, you're muted.
I am muted, yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, executive session coming up.
Good night.
Mayor, for some reason you're blurred.
Heard me?
Did you try to clean your camera?
No. And my arms are so short, I can't reach it. I'm just a blurry person. Okay, is that better? No, ooh. There.
Oh, that's better. There you are.
Yay.
I thought you pulled a Marty where you tried to clean the camera with some kind of an oil-based solution.
Joe, did you get the gas cards?
Yes, I did. Thank you. The new ones are in the cars and the old ones are all shredded.
Good. That took so long. I must have
Yeah,
done something wrong when I ordered them, because when I reordered them again last week, I had some different things to do. So it might have been my fault.
Well, and that's okay. I'm sure with everything going on there, they've added more layers, and they're doing it with the residents, let alone government, where they're adding more and more different layers of authentication just to try to do something simple. More and more, they have a phone number where they'll call you a one-time password code or an access code, or they'll text it to you just to verify that you are who you are. And they want a lot of verifications to try to prevent some of this hacking that's going on.
Right.
And I'll get you an updated list. We made couple changes with numbers, and I'll get your current roster of current employees.
Okay.
Only one has, I can even text it to you, one has a number change.
Okay.
And then you got the one about the one employee that is no longer employed.
Was that the auxiliary guy?
Yeah, the one that was on a leave of absence.
Oh. Okay. He decided he's going to stay where he is, huh?
Well, his other full-time employer is going to be closing. It's Josh Meehan. I mean, it's public record. But
Oh, I was thinking it was Steven.
no, yeah, he's staying down south.
Okay.
Yeah, gone, and then in fact, North Royalton's having their council meeting up there right now. They're closing the jail,
Oh boy.
so they're struggling with that. So he was on a leave of absence, and then he's going to change career paths.
Oh.
Jenny, I just sent you a text.
Oh, okay. I'll go get my phone.
No, you don't have to do it today. It's just I got to do it when I remember so that I don't get sidetracked and forget.
Oh, okay.
And then you just let me know, because I think you can do that right online. Just let me know when it's effective, and I'll.
Joe,
Yes,
did you talk to Linda today?
I was there for a little bit after training.
Did she tell you my test results?
Excellent. Perfect.
I was doing a happy dance when I left there this morning.
Can you email me the moment of silence person? I know it's Linda's brother, but I couldn't make out what you said for his last name.
Here.
It's
Altier?
Altier, Altiere.
Oh, okay.
I think I said alter.
What was his first name?
Mike.
Mike?
Mike. I think.
Yeah, Michael A.
I'm sorry?
It was Michael A.
Yeah.
He was 66.
Wow.
He's young. I think it's a nice idea that the Potato Festival wants to try and do something. I just am not can't seem to wrap my head around the dynamics of how it would work. Because when they approached me, they didn't say anything about bringing alcohol outside of the cakes or the bar. I didn't understand that. Now they want it roped off so they can have open container on the street. I'm a little.
I thought it was going to be like we did for the Village Tavern fundraiser, where we roped off that one area and the alcohol.
Village Tavern, yeah.
And then the other things would be outside of that, and we would just put somebody at the gate to monitor that. That was my first impression.
Well, we'll have to get clarification. That's not the way I understood it tonight, so.
No, the way I understood it tonight wasn't what I understood before.
Okay. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I think we need something, you know, people, like Ben said, you know, they're tired of being a shut-in, you know, something to get everybody out a little bit. But then we have to worry about the social distancing and what we're going to be allowed with crowds. And hopefully by September, it's going to open up a little more.
No, we hope. And even if we did First Street and Second Street, because those are the one-way streets, and you really don't want anybody coming down Second Street, even if we helped them out and did the one-way streets to Franklin South, you know, south of Franklin, like we did for Art on Hill, then, you know, they could have that block there. But, you know, that's just going to be the issue, and they'll just have to park down and walk up.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to talk to the Potato Stop because I thought they told me it was canceled.
Yeah, when he said that, I thought that I didn't realize that that was still a thing.
I thought Edie told me everything was canceled. So again, we'll just have to get it clarified.
And I don't know that they can have different alcohol vendors on their licenses if they're in separate areas. That I'm confused about that as well.
Well,
I think it would have to be under one closure, one perimeter. I don't think you can just all over the place.
Right, because I mean, we know that the village, you're allowed to consume out on their patio. And as long as you're staying in their driveway, in their parking area that they rope off, but Jody doesn't own the sidewalk. That's a public sidewalk. I don't know. There's a lot of things to address.
And they don't own like First Street. They're going to be up and down those streets. Right. Anywhere there's alcohol, you're going to have to stop it somehow.
Right.
By that snow fence.
And then whose license is affected? Village Tavern or Jody's? Because where'd the alcohol come from? Yeah, I don't know. Those are all questions that I have, but I have no answers. So I guess we'll have to figure those out.
Is the park lodge open? I was thinking council said it was going to be closed for maybe the summer. I'm just wondering because Debbie Zittner told me the other day that she has it rented for August 1st. I don't know if Mary Ann was told to rent it or not rent it, or.
I think it was rented prior to that. No, the lodge is not open yet because it's limited to 10 people. And because we would have to sanitize it after every use, and John has me checking for someone that would come in and wipe the counters down, wipe out the refrigerator, and clean the toilets and that kind of stuff. So, but no, it is not. The lodge is not open yet.
Oh, because she said she sent out her invitations and everything. So she said she has the lodge and both pavilions on August 1st.
Well, she's got 10 people, but I don't know that the governor's going to let that happen.
Right.
Mary Ann's been making it clear, whatever the state says. I know that she has moved people around already. So she has people that want it for December. Yeah, she's been advised to let them know, depending on the social distance. I mean, we know the social distancing is 6 feet, but unless they say more than 10 people in a closed place, I mean, if they have everything out at the pavilions, we don't have a whole lot of control about that. But as far as being in the buildings is a different story. So.
Well, we'll see what they say July 1st.
Right, yeah, I mean, because we could start having council meetings in person again, but we're limited to 10 people. Well, there's usually 13 of us, so. And that's before residents get there, so. That kibosh is that right now.
And I think as you move forward with the water and sewer things, people are going to show an interest. So you're probably going to end up with a bigger showing at your council meetings.
Well, and at that
Right.
point, if we have to hold something down at the park and tell everybody to bring their lawn chairs and social distance, I guess that's what we'll have to do if we reach that point.
We'll get a microphone and
Yeah.
Can we hook into that system that's down there? Can we hook into that PA system that's down there?
Actually, because the wires were hanging down, I had said something to Brian about them because the mower kept having to wrap them around the poles because they were just dangling everywhere. He went down and pulled them down.
Mm.
First, he tried to tell me that they were wires to our cameras. And I said, no, we didn't have cameras over there. Those are your speaker wires. So, yeah, we can get a Mr. Microphone down there.
We have a megaphone.
Is that chicken still wandering around down in the ball field?
Haven't seen it. I was off today, but
No, it was there, not this past weekend, but it had been there for over a week. People would go down and try and catch it. Yeah.
because he was social distancing.
Somebody asked me about it. I said, I don't know about any chickens in the village proper, so to speak, because there's no free range chickens allowed. Is that me that's buzzing?
What?
Well, on my end, I got a buzzing going.
I hear it too.
Here, let's see if it goes. Michelle says it's always me.
It stopped.
But stop.
The only thing I can think it is because my computer's been on so long, the fan kicked on, and I'm running my audio through my speaker, through the microphone, through my computer. So maybe when the fan kicks on, that's why, maybe because the fan kicks on, that's where your buzz is coming from. So is the public still watching our breakout room?
I think so. Yeah, it says we're still live streaming, so.
Uh,
Oh, there she is.
Hang on. More. Breakout room. Close the room. All right, they're coming back in a second.
Everybody's smiling.
They're back.
Here, we're looking at Marty's boombox and we're all wondering what jams he blasts out of that round. I'm guessing Kid and Play for any of you who are 90s music fans or 80s music fans.
I said a Kid and Play joke about 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah, because guys were trying to shake hands by kicking their feet together. So we're like Kid
Yep.
and Play.
Yep, exactly. Okay, we're waiting for a couple to come back from their brief break.
Okay,
All right, we're all back.
Ben, oh, there's Ben.
So we need a motion to come out of executive session. I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Marty,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes. I make a motion that the council president compiles a letter for the investigation that Chelsea Gregory made to the mayor.
I'll second that.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
Okay,
Good night, everybody.
What you got lined up for tonight, Ben?
thank you.
Oh, a barbecue chicken.
All right, enjoy. Good night.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Till next time.